Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you are having a wonderful day and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's episodes, we are going to be talking about racism and apologies. And it's a bit more of a serious subject today. This one does frustrate me a lot, and we'll get into it all in a second, as well as a few other bits and bobs that we need to update you on in the wonderful world that is Nottingham Forest. Before we start, guys, as always, if you would be kind enough just to give the video a quick like, free to do, subscribe as well, that's free to do, and if you'd like to support us, that will cost you 99p if you would like to become a member and get all the perks, including all the Forest players emojis. Guys, one final thing, a quick reminder, as I've been doing to you all week so you don't miss out, we're playing Brighton on Tuesday, and if you're not going to the match and you'd like to watch it, it is on Amazon, and I've got a link down below for you that will give you a free 30-day trial to Amazon Prime, which will allow you to watch the game, and you can cancel at any time. For those of you who already got Amazon, if you would be kind enough to use one of the links down below, if ever you're doing any shopping, that too supports the channel. With all the sport crap out the way, let's get into the video and let's talk about all this. The Sky Sports has issued an apology to Nottingham Forest in regards to the sketch they did in their Fantasy League show that they've revived. I don't know, I can't remember how long it's been off air for, but they did a sketch, if you guys haven't seen it, where, guess what? They were taking the mick out of how many players Nottingham Forest assigned. Really original. Look, they had this changing room with about 6 million people in there. And then they had a shirt held up with Aurier being the final one, and he had a shirt number of like 4,300 and something or other. Which, to be honest, the joke has gotten old. How many times have we had to discuss it? How many times have we had to talk about it? But that's not really why they had to apologize. They had to apologize because of the stupid image they used for Steve Cooper and were taking the mick out of his looks, which, quite frankly, is shocking and appalling. Look, there's going to be people who say snowflake this, snowflake that. Don't really care. In my opinion, a joke is a joke, but there are limits to how far you take a joke. Look, I push the limits on certain jokes as well, but there's a line even I know that you don't cross. And taking the mick out of an appearance like that is just not on. And Sky have done the right thing by apologizing. But this is not the first time this show has crossed paths with Nottingham Forest. For all of you guys who don't remember the show, maybe you're younger than me, maybe you're slightly older than me, I just about remember it as I was coming into, I don't know, I must have been about like 9-10 years old. But this is historically something that's happened before with Baddiel and Skinner when they were running the show on the BBC back in the day when Forest were on the Premier League. They constantly would target Jason Lee on this. And again, they took it past the limit. They had one of them would dress up as Jason Lee and black out their face as well, and then put a pineapple on their head, hence where that whole thing initiated from. And then they just ran with it. And to this day, they haven't actually apologized to him face to face. As far as I'm aware, look, I might be wrong on this one. But it was the impact that it had on Jason Lee throughout his career, and he's spoken about it many times over the year. And it's shocking and appalling that that happened in itself, that someone would be racist enough to black their face up and make a skit about it and keep on going and going. And it just makes me wonder, do these people never learn? Look, you can say the stuff they did on Steve Cooper in the recent sketch wasn't racist, but it doesn't have to be racist to be offensive. And I'm sure it's something that they need to think about as well. Seeing that Sky Sports have the rights to the Premier League, or the majority of the rights, should I say, to the Premier League, how does it make sense for them to try and seclude a certain part of that base, i.e. Forest, and put insulting images like that about Steve Cooper? This is the guy that they have to interview anytime they go live. For the last 2 Mondays, they've interviewed him pre-match, post-match, and Steve Cooper's had the integrity to stand there and speak to them when he knows what their production teams have been doing in the background. So yes, it's good they've apologised, but this show, now it wasn't under Sky before, obviously it was under the BBC, but this show needs to understand its limits. It needs to understand that there are certain things and certain lines that shouldn't be crossed. You may call me old school on this, whatever, but I just believe that there's limits to every joke. Look, have a laugh, etc. Now I'll say Jason Lee wasn't the great. I was a kid, so I can't really judge him. But I remember him not being the greatest striker we've ever had. But he was a bit of a cult legend, in my opinion. I loved his hair. I loved how he dressed up. It was different. It was good to see. As a kid, I enjoyed it. One thing I never noticed, though, as a kid, was the colour of his skin. And for them to do it back in that day, and I've gone back and watched the footage, and it's pathetic, it's disgusting, and they should be ashamed of themselves as well. And the fact that they're repeating their mistakes and issues, and it just so happens to be about the same club, is shocking in my opinion. So good to see they've apologised. But it wasn't just Steve Cooper they targeted. They also targeted Marinakis by having that other guy, I can't remember his name now, come in and dress as Pavarotti. And again, that's ethnic targeting. Marinakis isn't even Italian, for God's sake, and they're targeting him like that. It's just pathetic. So hopefully they'll clean their act up. But it just goes back to the narrative that the media clearly have issues with Nottingham Forest. We saw it all summer over Jesse Lingard. We saw it all summer over the signings. We're seeing it now in these sketches. Just leave us alone and let us get on with what we and the club are here for in the Premier League after 23 years of not being here. And we want to play football. We want to talk about football. We want to talk about performances, players' performances, the tactical side of the game, all the stuff that we love as fans. Stop targeting people based on their appearances and their looks. And let's just get on with what's meant to be the unifying factor in all of this, which is the beautiful game that's on the pitch. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you guys have any thoughts or comments, please, as always, leave them for me down below. Actually, I just want to touch on one final point with this in regards to the media. Again, they're still going on about it in the last 24 hours about Steve Cooper. And this is in relation to, obviously, the information we had last week where they were saying guaranteed sacking, the board meeting, etc. last Wednesday. And we all know how that ended up. They still won't let it go because there are more reports coming out today that Forest sounded out the likes of Tuchel and Poch before they decided on Steve Cooper's contract. At the moment, what I want to say about this is I don't care. I don't care if they'd contacted Zidane, or they'd resurrected some manager from the past out of their grave and tried to speak to him. I don't care. It's done. Why are they still bringing this up? And why are they still trying to force like this wedge within the club? Let us get on with the football. It's pathetic. It's like Cooper's been under enough pressure from the performances on the pitch at the moment. The contract gets signed. This almost feels to me like the media trying to lash back at Forest, because they're saying, you stuck two fingers up at us. Whoever leaked this to us has now made us look stupid and put, egg on our face. And now they're still trying to throw these back. Or it may be leaks coming from within the club. Look, there are definitely leaks from within the club. I've heard all kinds of other crap over the months. There's leaks coming out from the club. These need to be addressed and these need to be stopped. So Forest are not completely innocent in all of this. Someone is talking to the media about these things and other things, which we haven't even mentioned on the videos before, because it's not something you want to start a debate and help spread rumours with. But my point on here is let us play our damn football. Leave Cooper alone. The contract is signed. We're all behind him. We want him to succeed. You could name Tuchel, Poch. You could say we were going to get both of them together. Yeah, it doesn't matter now. We are pushing forward. Rant over. Okay, so let's talk about more positive news. Well, it's not really actually positive, but in terms of looking forward, guys, don't forget we have a game on Saturday against Wolves, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Forest back on the pitch on a Saturday. Feels like forever since the last time that has happened. We, of course, will have the watch along for you We'll probably start it from like 2:30 on Saturday. So if you're not going to the match, tune in to the watch along. You won't miss a kick of the game, and we'll talk you through all the main events that happen. But I just wanted to talk about my best buddy, Niakhate, who I am so confused about. And if there are any of you out there who have any info, and this is, I know, hypocritical seeing that I've just talked about leaks, but I've been looking at every single image released by Nottingham Forest, and I have found some last week when Niakhate was training with the full squad. This week, or should I say yesterday, they released a picture of the whole group gathered in a huddle. If you haven't seen it, go check it on my Twitter. It's Wolverine8125. And I honestly took it onto my computer, zoomed it in. As I said in my tweet, I could see the nasal hairs on some of the players. I'd zoomed in that much. But I couldn't see Niakhate. And my question really to the club is, why don't you give us some information about Niakhate and how far away he is? Let me talk you through the history of this. He got injured in the West Ham game, which was, I think, our second game of the season, many weeks ago. And it was said that it was a hamstring injury. Most hamstring injuries will take somewhere between 4 to 7-ish weeks, roughly speaking, depending on how bad they are. Now, Cooper came out a week, I think it was about a week later, and said it was worse than they expected once they'd got the scan results in and everything. But what's interesting to see is that a couple of weeks ago, he went away with the Senegal squad and trained with them when during the international break. After that, the pictures of him training with the first team were released, as I've shared before on Twitter. But since then, there's been radio silence about where he is. Now, I understand that we don't want to be giving our hand out, letting opponents know, what our injury situations, etc. are. But I just feel for Forest fans, this one is really important because we've had so many debates on our defence, and I don't think there is a single Forest fan, I'm probably wrong, who doesn't think that Niakhate is an important and integral part to that defence and would shore it up no end. So my question really is, maybe to you guys, where is Musa? Maybe we should start trending it on Twitter. So I've reached out to him. Look, he's probably not going to answer, but it would be nice to know how far away he is. My thoughts on this is that for the Wolves game, I don't think we will see him start. I don't think Niakhate will be back in the team until we've seen him first on the subs list. Maybe that happens at Wolves. Hopefully it does. But I would have expected, look, if you think Niakhate was going to start against Wolves, I would have expected to see him on the bench for Villa, which is what I thought would happen. But clearly, what the hell do I know? But he is so important to this team, and it's so important that he gets back to full fitness. And honestly, guys, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but in my opinion alone, I don't think we see him on Saturday, maybe not even Tuesday against Brighton. Outside of that, we don't have too many injury worries. Obviously, we've got Omar Richards, who's, again, probably a week away from joining the full training squad. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in. Would he jump into the team? But outside of that, we are looking quite solid. We will do a full preview of the Wolves match tomorrow, but I'm interested on your thoughts on how you think Forest will line up. Do you think they're going to go for the conservative approach like we did against Aston Villa on Monday? Or do you think Cooper will target this game and be a bit more attacking and a bit more balanced, i.e. the likes of Lewis O'Brien coming back in with Mangala? That is the pairing I want to see in midfield with Freuler as well. I think that just sounds like a beautiful combo. If you agree, let me know. I'm sure a lot of you are going to say Yates should come in. But I just think those three are our best suited midfielders. And the reason I say why will Cooper target this Wolves match is because of the run we have coming up. Following that, we have Brighton, Liverpool and Arsenal, or Arsenal-Liverpool, can't remember which way round it is. Those are 3 games that realistically we will do well to get any points out of. That's why this Wolves game, in my opinion, is imperative that we pick up 3 points from, because we don't want to get ourselves cut adrift. We've got to pick up points. A win at Wolves will give us such huge momentum going into the Brighton match. Now, you saw us on the Forest Forum on Tuesday, how giddy and excited and crazy we all got because we got 1 point. Imagine what the forum next week's going to be like if we bag 3 points against Wolves. It's going to be crazy fun. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. Let me know what you would go with the Wolves game. We will do a full in-depth preview for the video tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. But that will wrap us up for the news today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind and be kind enough, and I appreciate it, to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We are this close to 6K subs, and it's your support that's giving me the motivation to do this for you guys every day. I love you, and I thank each and every one of you. Don't forget to pick up your free Amazon trial. We'll see you on the Predictor League hopefully tonight, and come on, you Reds.